Good evening, everyone. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Clerk, please conduct the prayer and flag salute. Notice of this meeting stating the date, place, and time has been disseminated as required under the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In the event of an emergency, the proper method for exiting the council chamber is through the three doors in the rear of the room. Occupants should proceed down the staircase, out the front door, and move away from the area of the front steps. Any member of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting, please sign in on the white sheets provided in the front of the room. Turn off all cell phones or place them on vibrate. If you must take a call, please leave the council chambers to do so. Mr. Clerk, take the roll.
Mr. Colbus.
Here.
Koziel.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Armstead.
Here.
Crosby Hurling.
Here.
Sadowski.
Here.
Sheehy.
Here.
Yemakaitis.
Here.
Medina.
Here.
Kaczynski.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here. We'll move into the minutes of the regular meeting of February 22nd. I ask for approval of the minutes.
I approve the minutes of February 22nd and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Crosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Move into ordinance on hearing. Ordinance on hearing. This is the date and time established for public hearing for the ordinance on hearing. 57-5.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 6, Alcoholic Beverage Controls, shall be amended as follows. Section 4.1, opening and closing hours.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Mr. Sharp.
315 Second Avenue, Linden. Yeah, you know, this ordinance has been 12 o'clock for years. Now, all of a sudden, you want to give police officers something extra to do. You know, come out, make sure no one's drinking or serving children, you know, before 12 o'clock. Usually Sunday is a day of rest. You know, I know an alcoholic can wait a couple hours more, you know, to have its drink. You know, I don't know why this has to be changed. It was 12 o'clock all these years, and all of a sudden, so somebody can make an extra $1, you know, someone could get behind the wheel after having a nice pint and going around and hit somebody.
So you oppose this?
So I oppose it, and I just hope the city council opposes it.
Thank you. Pat Hero.
Pat Hero, Wheat Chief Road. As my darling departed friend from the Washington Post would have said, it is indeed all about the Benjamins. And it must be, because why else are you doing it? It doesn't make sense. I was just listening to Christopher Kennedy Lawford today and saying that we spend in this country more money on addictions than we do in cancer. That's how much it costs this country. More money on addictions than cancer. And you know how prevalent cancer is in this country. And so what are you doing now? You're proposing something that will increase the likelihood of people driving under the influence because you're increasing the hours in which they can obtain the item in which they are under the influence. You are bringing into people's homes an opportunity to have domestic violence and have children who are scarred from life because of that. And when you have an addiction in a home, it's not only the parents who are affected, it's the kids, and it can be multi-generational. Abuse and neglect, and never really recovering from that. And that's what you want. They bear the scars for life. And so this is what you're doing. You see my color on my shirt. I read it deliberately. This is the blood that's sacrificed with drunk driving, with domestic violence. And if you want to support drunk driving and domestic violence, then support this ordinance. But if you don't, vote it down. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your input. Anybody else from the audience wishes to make comment on this? If not, I'll ask for a motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move the hearing be closed and the ordinance adopted and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
No.
Koziel?
No.
Brown?
No.
Armstead?
No.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
No.
Sheehy?
No.
Yemakaitis?
No.
Medina?
No.
Kaczynski?
No.
Mr. Moore?
No. 57-6.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 6, Alcoholic Beverage Control shall be amended as follows. Section 2.2, Classes and Maximum Number of Licenses. License Fees, Section 2.2B, Plenary Retail Distribution Licenses, Annual Renewal Fees, $800.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Does anybody in the audience wish to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Yes, Mr. President, I move the hearing be closed and the ordinance adopted and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, 57-7.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, shall be amended as follows. Section 7-33, Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street. Name of street, add 515 East Blanky Street, one spot, 4 Clinton Street, 1 spot.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Does anybody in the audience wish to be heard about this ordinance? Seeing none, I ask for a motion, please.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of ordinance 57-07 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, 57-9.
8,
57-8.
bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various items of capital equipment for the Public Works Department, appropriating $423,200 and authorizing the issuance of $402,040 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost therein. Improvements, sewer inspection unit, appropriation $200,000, estimated notes $190,000. Bobcat all-purpose machine, appropriation $45,000, estimated notes $42,750. 2 Ford F-250 pickup trucks, appropriation $42,000, estimated notes $39,900.
Mr. Clerk, has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
Council President, I make a motion for the passage of ordinance 57-08 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, 57-9.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $60,000 for the acquisition of asphalt and authorizing the issuance of $57,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost.
Mr. Clerk, has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Seeing none, motion, please.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of ordinance 57-09 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
President.
5710, I'll ask for a motion to remove from the list.
Council President, make a motion for the removal of ordinance 57-10 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mr. Clerk, 57-11.
Bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of playground equipment for Lawson Park for the Public Property Department, appropriating $38,000 and authorizing the issuance of $36,100 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion, please.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of ordinance 57-11 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mr. Clerk, 5712.
Bond ordinance authorizing the appropriation of $300,000 for storm and sanitary sewer improvements and authorizing the issuance of $285,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anybody who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Seeing none, I ask for a motion.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of ordinance 57-12 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 57-13.
Bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 5512, finally adopted by the City Council on March 15, 2011.
Mr. Clerk, has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Seeing none, I ask for a motion, please.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of ordinance 57-13 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mr. Clerk, 57-14.
An ordinance adopting amendments to the redevelopment plan for Southwood Avenue redevelopment area.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Pat Hero, would you come up, please?
Pat Hero, Wheat Chief Road. Yes, I've been speaking on this quite a bit. And I do hope that when it all turns out, I hope that I am wrong on this, but I don't think I'm going to be. After all, if this is going to be the spark that ignites the explosion on Wood Avenue, it might be an explosion because people are concerned about parking spaces. This project doesn't have enough parking spaces, so they're letting people use street parking. If we're going to be having more businesses come to the area, presumably, and more residents, how is this going to benefit the city of Linden? We're already congested as it is. Maybe we should think about building a municipal parking garage. As I said before, and I'll say it again, I'm against this project because I do think it's going to bring far more congestion. And when you bring more residents into a place, you have to pay more in property taxes than you do if you just have businesses. So, and besides, I don't really see it improving Wood Avenue. But that's up to you to make that decision. I've already spoken on this innumerable times. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mrs. Wilberding.
Diane Wolverding. I live right down the street from this development. I want to be clear about this. I don't want anyone twisting any of my words around. I am for development of this side of Wood Avenue. Our side of Wood Avenue has always looked worse than the other side. I appreciate everything that Ron Stefanowitz has worked on to improve this city, and I know he has worked hard. Went to many meetings and found out the long-range plan for this city. So again, I am not against development. I understand the concept of people living and commuting into New York, because that is the reason why my parents bought that house into this area, in that area. My father commuted into New York City for 30 years using the train. I am all for that. There are two things about this project that I do not like. First of all, the part of it that is right by School 6. It is between East Morris Avenue, East Linden Avenue, and on Wood Avenue. And it is going to be the residential, mainly residential. I don't believe there's going to be any stores below that section. The parts across and the parts next to the Linwood will have stores with less apartments above it. The two things that really bother me about this project is the maximum height for this building is going to be, it says, should be 5 stories, not exceeding 60 feet. That is way too tall since it is so close to a school. I think it should be no more than 4 stories. If you look at the project on Roselle Avenue, it is 3 stories above parking. It fits right into the neighborhood. It looks really nice. So I think 5 stories is too high. And the other thing that bothers me about this project, I mean, there's some nice things in here. They got a little Juliet balcony and some nice features on it. But the second part is front, side yard, rear yard setback requirements. It says there's no minimum setbacks, which means it could go right up to the fence right next to that school. I think there needs to be a bigger space. Again, I would also hate to see that tree come down. I think it's because it's near a school. It shouldn't be that close and it shouldn't be that high. But I do not want to stop the progress. But again, it's too close to a school to be that big. So those are the two things that I want to state that bother me. I don't like high density, that concept or that word, and again, especially in my neighborhood, because if you ever try to turn on East Linden Avenue, which is something I want Mr. Sadowski to look into, we do need a turning signal there, because you got to wait and wait, then you got to yell at the person that's blocking your way, as I often do. So there's problems already with the congestion. So please, not that tall and not that close to the school. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishes to make comment? Motion, please.
Council President, I'd like to close the hearing on ordinance 5714 and accept a second.
Second. Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Okay, before I give my vote, I'm the councilman in the 6th Ward. Some of the things she said is true, but we have to start somewhere. This is an ideal spot to start it, since we have the village status, and it's the start. It's the first thing in that thing. There are 3 other areas next door, 2 across the street, that will have the smaller stores, that will have the businesses. I said this before, Linden needs a start somewhere, and the general thing is, not in my ward. Sorry, not in my ward. Give it to someone else. It
It does have its drawbacks, I have to agree with that, but I think we could work it out where it will be safe for the school and for the pedestrians, and I think we have to start somewhere, and this is the start. I was asked, well, get someone else. Well, this has been up for a couple of years now, and no one wants it. No one wants it, they want to build this. And this is a means of making extra money for the city and maybe balancing the budget a little more. We're hoping that this is the start of the redevelopment of all the lands past the train station. To be truthful, we've been neglected all these years. I'm hoping this is the start that, it'll be a revitalization of the south part of town. I vote yes.
Mr. Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. We'll move into the consent agenda. All items with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the city council and be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless council members or citizens so request. In the event, the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in normal sequence on the agenda. We have 1 through 6. Does anyone wish to remove an item? Am I right? Center? Am I left? Motion, please.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of the consent agenda items 1 through 6, and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Cosio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Move into committee reports. Mr. Colibus?
Thank you, Council President. I'll be very brief in my report. I just want to remind First Ward residents, tomorrow is Trash Day on District 1, I believe, of the First Ward. So remember to put out your trash tonight. If any other resident in the First Ward is noticing that the streetlights have been damaged due to just use or Superstorm Sandy, please let me know so I can forward that information to PSE&G. And that concludes my report, Council President.
Thank you. Honorable Councilman Richard Cosio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll also be very brief because other matters are more pressing tonight. Wednesday, April 3rd will be the next trash pickup for the second ward. Please plan accordingly, get everything out if you can for the 3rd. If you can't get certain items out, please remember that on Donaldson Place, the recycling center is always open for those items that they take. There's an auto facility on West Elizabeth Avenue. We continue to press on because of illegal parking of vehicles being worked on right-of-ways and without proper MV tags. We will stay on that. We did not meet with the Public Property or the Technology Committee this month because the budget was pressing and took up a lot of time, and we are due to meet either later this week or early next week. That is the end of my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Brown?
Thank you. The approval is requested for the following finance actions. The payment of bills totaling $1,854,869.79. The bills have been signed by the mayor, council president, and the finance chairman, and a detailed check register and vouchers are on file in the clerk's office. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Cosio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Thank you. Now on to a budget, just to review, give residents a review of the budget. I have a statement. I want to express my sincere appreciation to all the City of Linden employees. I know how hard every one of them works to make our city a better place to live. I realize since 2007, the city workforce for all non-uniform departments have been reduced by over 100 full and part-time positions, and those departments are doing more with less. I've been assigned chairman of the Finance Committee for the City of Linden and have been tasked with bringing a municipal budget to the City Council that is in compliance with state law. At this time, while we are working on the budget, I wanted to give everyone a brief overview of the budget. Because of declines in revenues over the last several years and a declining tax base each year, the city has lost substantial ratables which have not been replaced. The city has historically provided unparalleled services to our residents. However, this year, the revenues have dramatically decreased. The City of Linden's general surplus is at $5.3 million, whereas in years past, the general surplus was anywhere between $7 to $9 million. Due to various cap levy restrictions mandated by the state, which was started when Corzine imposed a 4% cap and continued with Christie with a hard 2% cap, it has made it nearly impossible for municipalities to continue to generate large surplus year after year. The amount of revenue generated from prior year balances to our surplus have significantly dwindled each year. This year, our general surplus is down over $3 million. In addition, one of our local sources of revenue, the red light cameras, that in 2011 brought in $3 million last year alone, brought in only $1.5 million because the city now must share half of the revenue with the County of Union. As a result, in the 2013 budget, our revenue is down over $4 million. Furthermore, the 2013 preliminary budget numbers are showing that dramatic cuts in personnel may be necessary in order to bring the 2013 budget in compliance with the 2% cap levy laws. The city's administrative and negotiations team have met with every union and requested concessions that will have an immediate impact on the 2013 budget, bringing the city of Linden closer to being in compliance with the 2% cap. Although most of the unions are continuing to have discussions with the city, as of today, I have received no confirmation that any union is willing to give back total compensation packages for the year 2013. Unfortunately, the city of Linden must look to reduce the appropriation side. The required costs are up over $3.5 million, of which 2.1 million is in salary and wages, and the remaining cost is due to a 9.4% health insurance increase. The city currently covers all employees' health insurance costs due to our current labor agreements, which expired December 31st, 2013. The governing body is determined to bring the 2013 budget in compliance with the state law and the 2% levy cap by reducing the appropriation side of the budget. The mayor and the council are pursuing reoccurring revenues. However, many will not occur until the early part of 2014. As a result, we must get through the 2013 budget cycle. As of our last option, the council has to consider demotions and reductions in personnel. The council will consider reducing the number of demotions and layoff if various bargaining units can make what we know are difficult concessions. The city is also working to reduce the budget shortfall through arbitration. I can personally say these decisions are not easy ones to make. However, as chairman of the Finance Committee, I am, as well as the whole governing body, are forced to comply with the state of New Jersey budget law. I offer our annual audits and our annual financial statements for 2012 to any union that wishes to review our fiscal records. I am available to meet with anyone who has questions or concerns regarding the 2013 budget. I just want to say again, we do not take pleasure in reducing anyone's salary compensation, but the alternatives to our employees and residents would be heartbreaking. Thank you.
Report.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. Councilman Armstead.
Yes, Mr. President, I have the following reports from the License Department. The following licenses, permits, and transcripts issued in the City Clerk's office during the month of February and fees received have been turned over to the Treasurer of the City of Linden. There were 67 birth, death, and marriage transcripts for $990. There were 19 marriage and civil union licenses for $57 and with $475 going to the state. There were 0 domestic partnerships. There were 6 miscellaneous revenues for $7.58, 7 bingo raffles for $140, and 252 EDRS vital stats for $4,425. It was altogether a total of 351 total transactions with a total of $6,094.58. From the City Clerk's Licensing Division, we submitted a monthly report for the month of February. The office issued 46 miscellaneous licenses for $3,442. I'm going to comment briefly on our situation regarding the budget. In short, without repeating everything that Councilman Brown had mentioned, our appropriations have increased and our revenues have decreased. That, along with the fact that we do have a 2% cap levy that has been mandated by the state, we're forced into a very uncomfortable situation here. I would like to say that no one wants to see our first responders and our police officers laid off, nor do we like the notion of laying off or giving furloughs to people from our Department of Public Works or any other area in this city. It's a very, very, very uncomfortable thing to do. But that being said, we just don't have the money. We've gotten ourselves into a situation. As mentioned earlier by my colleague in the 3rd Ward, we'll be looking for some concessions, okay? In the form of some givebacks. Now, I'm confident. I'm a resident of the city for 52 years, and we've been in this town for over 90 years. And I want to say that in Linden, somehow, some way, we somehow managed to pull it together and get through these tough times. Now, we can do 2 things. We can butt heads, and we can not figure out how to get through it, or we can go somewhere, we can sit down in the back room somewhere, and we can figure out how we're going to make this work, okay? Because basically, we really don't have a choice. We've got to make this thing work, and I think we will. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Cosby Hurley.
Thank you. I'll keep my comments brief. The mayor told us that we should, since it was going to be a long meeting tonight. The first thing I want to do is wish my neighbor Hattie Bannister happy 108th birthday. Her birthday was March the 5th, and she celebrated her birthday with her family at a local business here in Linden. So again, happy birthday, Mrs. Bannister. I also want to say thank you to the Girl Scout Troop of Linden 40330 under Miss Sharita Bailey. They came out and it was cold, and they helped to display yellow ribbons in support of our veterans on Cranford Avenue in the 5th and 8th Ward. And I want to just, let the girls know that their help was appreciated, and we appreciate that. In the 5th Ward, we are going to have a budget presentation. Councilman Brown has offered, to have a conversation with anyone who's willing. And the treasurer, CFO, has also offered to attend the meeting just so that the residents can get more in-depth information, kind of in a nutshell, if you have the concerns. We are in a financial, I want to say disaster at this moment, and we have to make hard decisions. So if you are interested in coming to an informal session, April 10th, it'll be at the LMP seat 6:30. We are going to be in the 5th Ward revisiting some parking issues that we had along St. George's Avenue near some businesses that are open late at night. So just for you, Mr. Goble, and your neighbors, just so you know, that we're going to revisit that permit matter for you. If anyone wants or has any concerns or comments, my telephone number is 908-477-4120, or you can email me at the city email, rcosbyhurling@linden-nj.org. But before I close my reports, I do want to acknowledge that a local organization is recognizing for Women's History Month our very own Judge Cassandra Corbett for Women's History Month, as she is the first seated woman for Linden Municipal Court, and she's going to be recognized by a nonprofit, the Respect Foundation. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Sadowski.
Thank you, Council President. Real short. First, the Business Administrative Ad Hoc Committee has fulfilled its obligations. There was a group of, I guess you would call civilian people, and a couple of council people on it. We met for 8 months, 9 months, and basically what the foundings were that the city would benefit if it had a business administrator. That was our only charge, was to say yes or no. We had nothing to do with, are we going to get one, or are we going to pick anyone out? But we have fulfilled our obligation, and the committee has been disbanded. The other person on there was Councilwoman Yamakaitis and myself, or council members. The Accident Review and Safety Committee had its first meeting. Members of that are Roshana Cosby, Hurley, Amanda Mondina, and myself. The first meeting we had was just to set up what we're going to do the rest of the year, and we will be dealing with any kind of accidents or safety problems if they are sent down to us from the city. Councilwoman Yamakaitis and myself setting up the National Boy Scout Day, or Scout Day, excuse me. Yeah, not Boy Scout, excuse me. National Scout Day, and this will be coming up, and we'll let you further on it. Real quickly, all applications for this year's Senior Citizen of the Year have been turned in. The announcement of the 20,000 senior citizen will be announced in a couple of weeks. There's a couple of people, they haven't voted on it. Lastly, I thought I would be let know, but I passed by the soccer field on Sunday, and goodness, it was being used already, the one in Wheeler Park. So, it was a rugby game, though. So, that field is open if you go down there. It's a beautiful field that the county set up, and we're hoping that everyone from Linden and otherwise will use it and be safe there. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Sheehy.
Thank you, sir. For some more bad news, due to our budget, our last trash pickup in the city of Linden will be April 3rd. So please check your schedule, because after April 3rd, there will be no more trash pickups. Not ever. Once we can get back on track with our budget, we will, we're going to do our best to pick up trash, because that's the services in the city of Linden. That's why we all moved here, was to keep our services in the city of Linden. But due to the budget, we're not going to pick up trash the rest of the year. All right, on some little good news, we're going to name Sunnyside Park after former mayor, prisoner of war, Councilman Paul Workmeister. And I feel that it is deserving. That man came up to this podium and loved this city till his last day on earth. He was very helpful to everyone on this council that called him, and I think it's very deserving that we name that park after Paul Workmeister. As you could see through the city, the Yellow Ribbon campaign it's fantastic. There's nothing more to say about it. We could use some more help. If anybody needs ribbons, please, you can go to Adalia's and Skip at Adalia's, and Dennis Walker will give you all the ribbons that you need. I'd like to personally thank Andrew McCarthy in the 7th Ward for doing a great job with the ribbons. And I got a couple announcements. We're going to have a taste of the town for all the Sandy victims. It's by the Kiwanis Club. It's June Lazaro, which June is involved in everything. I appreciate all the help she has done through the whole storm. All right, the fundraiser dinner is going to be Wednesday, March 20th. That's tomorrow, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at the JTG Center. And all these proceeds will be handled through the Kiwanis to go to the storm victims. And the Linden High School baseball team's going to have a pasta dinner 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, this Saturday, at the JTG Center. Due to the cutbacks, through the Board of Ed, that the baseball team has to raise some of their own funds. On a personal note, our good friend of Linden, Jennifer Brooks, is getting a kidney today. God bless her.
She's getting
She's been waiting for a kidney. She had a kidney donated to her years ago and it failed. And anybody that knows Jennifer has had a rough time, and she got the call this morning to go for a kidney. So keep Jennifer Brooks in your prayers, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. Mrs. Yamakaitis?
Thank you, Council President. Just a reminder, there are yellow ribbons down in the front. If anybody would like one, please help yourself. Personnel Committee report. Approval is requested for the following personnel actions. In the Police Department, the hiring of Jamal Carson as a per diem public safety telecommunicator to replace Ryan Scott, who is no longer interested in the position, at the starting hourly rate of $10, effective March 25th, 2013. In the Police Department, the approval of the retroactive FMLA leave of absence for Anisha Jones from January 16, 2013 to March 4, 2013. In the Police Department, the approval of an unpaid FMLA leave of absence for Rhonda Fullerton from March 14, 2013 through June 13, 2013. In the Department of Public Property and Community Service, the approval of an unpaid FMLA leave of absence for Edgar Allen Boley Jr. from March 12, 2013 through May 11, 2013. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Calvis?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Mr. Brown, step down for a moment.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Okay, as Councilwoman Cosby Hurling mentioned, February is Women's History Month. I would like to acknowledge Ms. Rita Greco of Linden, who is being honored this Friday evening by the Union County Commission on the Status of Women as a Woman of Excellence in the area of arts and humanity. Mrs. Greco has been involved in numerous organizations in Linden throughout the year, so I'd like to once again say congratulations to Mrs. Greco. And I would also like to congratulate Mr. Dwayne Cosby on directing his first high school production this past weekend of Seussical. The cast, stage design, and entire production were exceptional. And also a shout out to the Girl Scout troop for putting up the yellow ribbons on Cranford Avenue, as well as my husband Luke, who spent the Sunday afternoon doing Park Avenue from Warnaco to the Park Avenue Bridge by the refinery. We will be having an 8th Ward egg hunt this Saturday, March 23rd at 11 a.m. sharp at Makowski Park. And rain date would be the following Saturday, which would be March 30th. I'd like to just echo some of the comments made by my fellow council members. We've hit tough economic times in the city of Linden. Our hands are tied with this cap, this 2% cap. Many of you might remember my husband's grandfather. He was a police officer in the city of Linden. The Yamakaitis family has been in Linden for well over 100 years, and he was hired by the Linden Police Department during the Depression. And meeting my husband's grandmother, one thing she did always echo to us is she was never rich, but people said, why would you want to take a measly job as a police officer? The pay stinks, this and that. But there was always that guarantee of having a job. People were losing their jobs left and right during the Depression. So unfortunately, it seems like the country, we're in a really bind here. But we have to all work together to get through this. And that's what we're asking from the cooperation of everyone, to just sit down and talk and work together. So that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Medina?
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Report's pretty much short, but just want to piggyback off of Jack Sheehy that we are renaming Sunnyside Park to Paul Workmeister. Sunnyside Park is in the corner of Edgewood and Summit Terrace, and it's in the 9th Ward. I knew Paul for a very short time, but his history with the city, 20 years as a councilman, mayor, and the love for the city that this man has is well deserving, and it's an honor. Just some update on public safety in the 9th Ward. Our police department has done a great job. They've been out there on DeWitt Terrace, monitoring the traffic.
during the operations of the schools, monitoring the kids, going back and forth with the speeders. So I thank them for that. Also, we made an improvement on the corner of Northwood Avenue and St. George's Avenue, right next to actually the Delta and the Easy Check. Drivers were driving on the sidewalk. Our great department over there in DPW installed 2 planters, resolved the issue, and now our pedestrians can walk up and down Northwood Avenue without fearing being hit by a motor vehicle. Lastly, on a personal note, just want to thank all of our city employees. I do appreciate our good folks at DPW, Fire Department, and Police Department. Everyone in the city of Linden really rely on you guys to protect and to serve us and to pull us out of a burning building, and also for our DPW to provide us with our great service that we're known for. I'm confident that this will work out, we can get past this, and we can come together and figure this out. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. 10th Ward, Councilman Adam Konsinski.
Thank you, Council President. From the Construction Code Committee, excuse me, the department issued 241 permits, 121 certificates, and raised total fees of $99,489 for the month of February. Also, I'd like to read in a movement here to alter the street lighting on Wood Avenue. Recently, PSE&G conducted a lighting study in the area of Wood Avenue and Elizabeth Avenue due to complaints about the sufficiency of the street lighting. They are recommending that 3 poles currently containing no lights have 400-watt lights installed, and 6 existing 250-watt pole lights be increased to 400 watts. The cost resulting from these changes will result in a monthly charge of $164.64 to the city. I move for approval to implement the recommended changes and their cost of $164.64 per month, and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
He stepped out for a moment.
Armstead? Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
That resolution particularly relates to one particularly dangerous part of Wood Avenue where there's been some incidents in the past, and we asked PSE&G what they thought about it as regards to lighting and whatnot, and that's what they came back with. So that's why we moved forward with that. Locally, the School 10 area, I want to ask parents and the residents around there. There's just some complaints about parking that hasn't been so neighborly. They've been parking in front of driveways. Even if you're dropping off your child for a few seconds, you could be blocking in somebody for a few seconds, and they might be going to work, they might be going different places. So please have consideration. I've also been advising the residents to make note of these incidents, because I'm a big believer in even the smallest quality of life issue is a big issue if it's your house. So I'm asking any residents around there, if they have any issues, please contact me at 908-463-9234 or email akaczynski@linden-nj.org. And again, to echo what I believe everybody's been saying so far, is that I've always been, and I ran because I believe in the cooperation of Linden. I really do. And I'm hoping, I'm confident that we will find a way through this by working together, but it's only going to be by working together. Thank you, Council President. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor, you're up.
Thank you, Council President. And I'd like to thank all the council members for unanimously voting in support of the Southwood Avenue redevelopment district. That truly is going to be the spark that's going to ignite the explosion on Southwood Avenue and even Northwood Avenue. Because what we're going to have is young professionals who are not going to use our schools because they're going to use the train station to commute to Newark and New York. That is the type of housing that's going to be built. It's going to be built for young professionals that are not going to tax our services, yet we are going to get a rateable that's going to contribute to our budget. You cannot create the future if you live in the past. And we have to realize that we have to work and use that train station as a jewel for development
like other communities are doing. We're paying since 2005, $240,000 a year in principal and interest for a vacant piece of property. Now, once we get site plan approval, we will be getting that rateable or that debt service and principal paid for, plus an additional rateable. So that's why it's important, because once that project gets developed, it's going to encourage other projects, and we're going to go across the street and develop that also. So it's a significant milestone for the city of Linden. We are working hard for development and a strong downtown business district. So again, I'd like to thank the city council, and that's going to be the end of my report, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll move to resolutions 2013-128 through 2013-161. Public comments will be permitted on the specific resolutions to be removed from the consent approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions, which have been prepared by the city clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain questions. Does anyone wish to remove a resolution 128 through 161 on my right? Pat Hero? 131? 145? 160? 161 on my right. In the center. On my left. Seeing no other hands, motion for the rest?
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of resolutions 128 through 161, with the exception of Resolution 131, 145, 160, and 161, and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown? Armstead?
Yes on all, with the exception of 139. I'll abstain on that one.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yeah, 160 and 161 isn't on this.
Right.
Right. I vote yes.
Sheehy?
Yes. Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 131, Pat Hero. 3 minutes, please.
Sure, Pat Hero, We Chief Road. When the mayor talked about $240,000 in principal and interest since 2005, he's just talking about the cost of the purchase. I don't believe he's factoring in the attorney's fees. And as we see here now, the attorney's fees are up to $95,932.84 when we're talking about Special Redevelopment Council. Now, granted, not all of that is the Southwood Avenue project, but probably some of it is. And that doesn't include the attorneys that went before the McManaman and Scotland group. And that is why we do not need government involved in the redevelopment business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, move for approval of Resolution 131 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 145, Pat Hero.
I just wanted to thank you for opposing the closure of the Woodbridge Developmental Center. I also believe that the Totowa Center should also be opposed. In reality, they're starting to move in Trenton about this too, and we have great hopes that both of these centers may be kept open. The fact is, many years ago in the legal community, there was a big move and push to close a lot of mental institutions, saying that they would have community care. Fact is, we did close those institutions. and we provided no community care. So I believe that this, I support you in opposing the closure. I believe that this is a good thing. The people came here, they support these facilities, and if they're satisfied with the care that their relatives are getting, then it's a good thing. So thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much for your input. Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 145 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colvin?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Pat Hero, 160.
I want to thank you because a few months ago I stood at this podium and I said that I wanted something named after Paul Werkmeister. And I want to thank you for giving us something that's named after Paul Werkmeister. However, having said that, all I can think of is Paul Werkmeister standing up here and saying, we need a business administrator. In fact, I can see him right now in my mind's eye saying that. I don't think he'd support a committee just saying, yes, we do need a business administrator. I'd say, he would say, we need to go further. We need to get a business administrator.
Ms. Hero, we're talking about the park.
Yes, we are. But I'm also talking about Paul Werkmeister. So, I would appreciate it if you would get a business administrator, because I don't think Paul Werkmeister would expect anything less from me. Thank you for your time.
Motion on Sunnyside Park to be renamed Paul Werkmeister Park.
I move for approval of Resolution 160 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colvin?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 161, Pat Hero.
Okay. If we had listened to Paul Werkmeister, maybe we wouldn't be in this predicament. I'm sure we wouldn't be. The fact is, though, is the chickens have finally come home to roost. I've been standing up here, I believe it's 9 years, this coming April, and of course, telling what was going to happen, and unfortunately it's happened. I take no joy in this. I do think, rather than perhaps we might think of salary rollbacks and contributing more in health insurance premiums. You know, some of us can't give back anymore. Some of us have given all we can give. And it just seems, I know everybody works hard, but you know, I stood there a few years ago seeing people come in and, you know, talking about their positions. We can't look at people anymore. We've got to look at positions. Because believe me, when you see people and you know these people, you're not going to want to lay anybody off. You're not going to say that position isn't necessary because you don't want to lay Jane or Sue or John or Robert, because you know these people. Having said that, we've got to take, desperate times do require desperate measures. So I would like to think about people wanting to consider salary rollbacks and more into the health insurance. Believe me, 2% is not enough. When I worked for a certain university, I had to pay into my health insurance. At first it was free, and this is back in the 80s, okay? And I was only making like $15,000 at the time. So believe me, we need people to contribute far more. It's just, believe me, the taxpayers cannot take it. I'll address that more in the public portion. Thank you for your time.
Motion, please.
Council President, quick line.
Brown. Councilman Brown.
Ms. Hero, and that's what we're trying to do. My statement, when I talk about concessions, is getting more concessions back to bring us under that 2% cap. I mean, I just want to throw some of these numbers out so that residents know that when we're talking about concessions and what we're looking to get back, it's a lot of money. You know, and I'm not going to mention the department, but these are some of the biggest, largest departments, is that total compensation for one department, health benefits, salaries, pension costs, is over $13 million. The total compensation for pension, or let me employee compensation, so that's your pension and health benefits, is over $4.5 million. That's in one department. The other department, total compensation is over $17 million. I'm sorry, $19 million, $19 million. When it comes to the total health benefits and pension that's being, the city of Linden's paying, $6.4 million. And unfortunately, the way that the contracts were set up, we're being forced to pay these. These contracts are not ending to the end of the year, but in order for us to get under this 2% cap, again, we need help from the unions, from everyone, to get us under that 2% cap. So I understand what you're saying, but, you know, there's only so much we can do.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Yes, move for approval for Resolution 161 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
No.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
I abstain.
Sadowski?
Unfortunately, I have to abstain on this. The reason is might have a conflict of interest because I have a family member on the police force, and I don't want to be accused of having any kind of conflict of interest, so I abstain.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Abstain.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
I've been advised potential conflict of interest in the police department as well, so I abstain.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We're going to move into ordinance on first reading. 5715. In order to take into consideration public input into the proposed ordinance, we allow 3 minutes for each individual to speak on the ordinance on first reading. Council will not answer any questions. Everyone is reminded the public hearing on each of these ordinances will be held at next month's council meeting. 5715, please.
Bond ordinance authorizing the resurfacing of various streets and resurfacing of courts at Lawson Park and appropriating $680,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $646,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Any comments on this from the public? Yes, for a motion to introduce?
Council President, make a motion for the passage of ordinance 57-15 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski? Yes. Mr. Moore?
Yes, 5716.
An ordinance creating a public safety committee within the city of Linden.
Any public comments, any wishes in the audience to
I want to make a
speak
comment.
on this? Motion, please.
You can.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Cosby Hurley?
Oh, my bad. Okay, I'd like to introduce ordinance number 5716. It was revisited from last year, and I'm going to ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
No.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
No.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
No.
Sheehy?
No.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
No.
Mr. Moore?
No.
Motion is defeated.
5717.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, shall be amended as follows. Section 7-33, Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street. Add 2507 East Edgar Road, 1 space, 549 East Blanky Street, 1 space.
Thank you. Comments from the public? Seeing none, I ask for a motion to introduce.
Mr. President, I move for introduction of ordinance 5717 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby, Harling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5719.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 31 zoning shall be amended as follows. Revised 31-20.26A 1, clothing donation bins, general requirements.
Comments from the public? Seeing none, I ask for a motion to introduce.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction to ordinance number 5719 and request a second.
Second. Sorry.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby, Harling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 57-20.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Administration, shall be amended as follows. Delete 2-12.1, Department of Police in its entirety. Add new 2-12.1, Department of Police, amending the table of organization of the Police Department to consist of 1 chief, 3 captains, 6 lieutenants, 17 sergeants, and 84 patrol officers.
Comments? Please come up.
No, we did 8. Yes, we did.
Good evening. Joseph Birch, 625 Beechwood Road, Linden, New Jersey. President PBA Local 42. I just want everybody, all the council members, to know that I don't envy the job you have and the situation that you're in. However, I would just like to make note that we believe that moving forward with this ordinance may be a little bit more premature. I know in the past that there have been different audits or surveys that have been conducted in order to effectively manage certain departments. I know I didn't have the luxury of being here at last meeting. However, I did get to see the rebroadcast, and I just think that there's a definite rush to urgency in regards to passing this ordinance. So at this time, if I would like to just request that it be passed at this time until an audit or a survey can be conducted. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any further comments from the public?
George Costre, Ferber Avenue in Linden. I know the council cannot answer any questions, but would I be able to ask the chief a question?
No, on introduction, this is for your any public comment on it. There's no comment from the council or the city officials.
So I can't ask the chief any
Correct.
questions on this at all?
Correct.
Okay. Because the only reason I know in the ordinance now, I believe the police department is staffed at 135. This is dropping them down to 111, which means you're losing 24 officers. I understand you're in a tight time, but this seems that both this ordinance and the next one, which I will speak on also, seems like you're rushing to get this done. And my personal belief is maybe losing 24 officers is not safe for the officers, and I know it's not safe for the public either. And that's my comment. And if I was wrong on my numbers, Chief, I'll give you a call tomorrow if that's okay with you, and find out if I was correct on them. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Council President, make a motion for ordinance 57-20 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
I'm going to vote yes on the introduction. I just want everybody to know it's only an introduction. As my council colleagues have said, that we have a month to deliberate and to hopefully come to a resolution where next month it won't be into affirmative. So I vote yes on introduction.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby, Harling?
Abstain.
Sadowski?
I must abstain again, since I may have a conflict of interest.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yes on introduction.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Abstain.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I miss 5718. Mr. Clerk?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, shall be amended as follows. Section 7-12.1, 2-hour parking.
Anybody who wishes to comment?
Missed 18, so we're going back to 18.
Motion, please, to introduce.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of ordinance 57-18 and ask for a second.
Second.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Crosby Harling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes, 5721.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Administration, shall be amended as follows. Delete 7-13.1, Creation of Department Supervision in its entirety. Add new 2-13.1, Creation of Department Supervision, amending the table of organization of the Fire Department to consist of 1 chief, 5 deputy chiefs, 22 fire lieutenants, and 56 firefighters.
Comments on my right? Would you come up, please? 3 minutes.
What I have to say with regard to this, I want you also to apply to 57-20. It's the same principle. The fact is, government functions with public safety. It's the fundamental purpose of government. Now, I understand, unfortunately, it is very, very expensive to provide public safety. And that is why I am in favor, and I know several people here probably won't like me after this one, but I would rather have the police and the fire department take pay cuts and keep the complement going at, I guess, 135 and whatever the fire department is, than have us lay off officers or firemen. But then that means having a pay cut that would kind of balance out what we're trying to get with what we are doing here. That's my comment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Comments from the Senator room? Comments on the left? Please come up.
Like I stated before, it just seems that, you're trying to rush into this. I know that, if I'm not mistaken, less than a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago, you had a survey done by a professional company, which you paid for the fire department. In that survey, they recommended the manning to be 111. Right now, the manning of the fire department is at 126. However, that 126 number is not a true number because it's 116 right now, if I'm correct, Chief? Thank you. The other thing that concerns me is, just a couple months ago, you put police officers on, you put firefighters on. These guys left jobs, and now guess what? They're going to be out of a job again. Their family depended on them having this job. I understand that we're in tight times, but I'm just hoping that we can get together and work something out so that these guys don't lose their jobs. I feel sorry for these guys. Like I said, I know there was police officers just put on, I believe, just into the academy now. You got firefighters in the academy, and the fire department lost an engine company last year, I believe. You're at like minimum manning for the safety of the guys. If you go down to this 84, you're looking to lose another engine company. I believe it's 27 guys. Correct, Chief? Okay. You lose another engine company, what firehouse, what district is going to be without fire coverage? The only reason I'm getting up here and say anything about the police department and the fire department is the public safety, to let the public know what's going on. Because when you read these ordinance, it just looks like you're changing some numbers around. But the real numbers should have been on here also, let you know what you're going from and to. And that's my concern, is for the public safety and also for the firefighters and for the police officers' safety that are out in the field. I was with the fire department. I'm retired now, and thank God I made it through. I know what's out there, and things turn pretty bad real quick in both the police department and the fire department when things happen. So I just ask you to really look into it and see and think about the safety of the public and also the safety of the officers, both police and fire. Thank you.
Thank you. On my left?
Thank you. Bill Haskell, I'm the president of the Fire Officers Union, the Linden FMBA Local 234. I'm also a taxpayer in the city of Linden. I have to agree with President of the PBA, with Joe Birch, to say that this might be a little premature. I know just recently, and Mr. Costre had brought it up, is that you guys spent good money on a study. You know, $45,000 to look at the fire department's table of organization, the fire, EMS, the services you provide, and it came out with recommendations, and one of them was that this is a 2-ambulance town, 24/7, with the ability to man a third. I'd like to ask the chief, but I know I can't, but I could tell you in my 18 years of experience, this table organization cannot meet those needs. You know, I know the city's in financial hardship. We're going to try and do everything we can to help you. But, you know, I just got wind of this yesterday that we're changing, you know, we're just eliminating a complete rank in the fire service. This was told to me last night. You know, I don't know how that's going to work out, what responsibilities that person's going to have less. But I just feel it's, you know, thrown together at the last second here without truly looking into it. The fact is, when it comes to, at least in my opinion, a table of organization, the chief and this council and the mayor need to prioritize and realize what services that they want to provide to the citizens of Linden in regard to the fire department. Fire protection, EMS, we do inspections, we do the hydrants, we do first responders, we do confined space, we do high angle. I mean, there's a ton of things that we do. So you guys have to start to put it down and say, listen, this is our mission statement. This is what we want to provide to the citizens of Linden. This is how many people it's going to take to do it. These are the different ranks we have to have. Put it in a T of O, put it in stone, and fund it. That needs to be a priority to be funded because it's public safety. You can't just keep winging numbers and throwing it around and change it year to year. If there's somebody up here who believes in this T of O to protect this city, I'd like for you to tell me. If you believe this is what the protection that you can provide to the citizens and the business and myself when I go into a fire, who's going to be there to pull me out if I go down? If you believe in this T of O, that's one thing. Or it's just thrown together, you know, because we have no money. If that's the case, then there's mismanagement of money. There has to be a priority for public safety, realize what you need to protect your citizens, and then find a way to fund it. And that should be the number one priority. You need to prioritize what's important here. I don't believe this T of O does it. You know, come up with a T of O, find a way to fund it, little things. And I thought, we can't agree on a raise, or we can't agree on health insurance and little things like that. That's little things. That's simple to get through. But keep coming back and reducing us and reducing us and reducing us every year and threatening us to take our raises away, or if not, we're just going to lay you off and demote you and just get rid of all yous, and we'll just keep lowering you. If this is what you think the T of O should be, well, then vote on it. I don't think it's protecting the citizens of Linden. I don't. And if you don't, we need to find a way to fund it. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Motion, please.
Council President, make a motion for the passage of ordinance 57-21 and seek a second.
Second. Mr. Calvis.
Again, I reiterate my sentiments on 5720, and I'm going to vote yes on introduction.
Koziel. Yes. Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Abstain.
Sadowski.
Since it is the first time, I vote yes.
Sheehy.
Further
Yes.
consideration.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes on introduction.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
No.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. I'd like to move into comments from members in attendance, city business only. No personal derogatory comments, please. Gina Rivera. Gina Rivera. Kay Hopkins. You didn't sign in? George? Come on up, George.
Bill Haskell.
We got you. We put you down.
George Costre, Ferber Avenue, again. I know at this time I can ask the chiefs both. I'll ask them the same question. And my question to both Chief Schulhafer and Chief Rizzo is, on the compliment that was on that ordinance, is that your recommendation to go down that low, Chief? No. Chief Schulhafer?
No.
Okay. Second question to you, and I know you only have 3 minutes, so I'm going to make this quick. Chief Schulhafer, do you believe that that's a safe level to operate at?
Was restructured. We have basically the same number of patrol officers that we had in the past, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 officers. So there will be I don't foresee any decrease in the safety of our citizens. However, those 21 officers have to come from somewhere in the department, and there will be many other areas in the department that will not be able to perform the same service that we did before.
Thank you. And Chief Rizzo, the levels that they set at, are they safe levels?
They will reduce the fire protection for the city of Linden. We would be forced to close the firehouse.
Okay. And again, the numbers, I don't understand where the numbers came from, especially since there was a survey done with the 111, and I'm not really sure about the police department's manning, but how did these numbers come up, the reductions? Do we pull them out of a hat? How do we do them? Where the chief's consultants say, hey, we really need safe numbers here. What's a safe number? Were you asked if there's a safe number? Okay, I don't want to put you on the spot, so thank you.
Chief.
Yes.
The chiefs were consulted with this. We have a difficult budget. Because of that, what we're doing is we determined a certain level that has to be cut per department. And that's police, fire, and every other department in the city.
Okay, so safety was never even put into the picture then?
No, the chiefs,
Okay,
the
thank
chiefs
you.
were consulted.
Gina Rivera. Kay Hopkins. From Van Buren Avenue. Rebecca Titoli.
Good evening. I have to address a couple of things that were brought up in a few of the council persons' addresses tonight in reference to their reports. One, Councilman Armstead, like you and Mrs. Yamakaitis, I've got you all beat. I got 160 years of my family being here, so I understand the history and pride that we have in our community. With that being said, I feel like I'm standing in a deja vu moment. I believe it was only 3.5 years ago that we were in this same place, and I believe certain unions did take certain cuts and put stuff on the table and said, we're not going to do it in lieu of saving fire and police, whatever, public works people. And yet, even after they did that, and they were promised, and maybe the attorney who negotiated for you spoke out of turn and wasn't always truthful. I don't know that for fact. But, staving layoffs was part of the deal, and yet you still did the layoffs. So now I think you as a council have a trust issue. And that's in lies the biggest problem. I don't think it's really about total negotiations. I think that everybody can come to compromise, but I think there's a trust issue going on here. That's my personal opinion, and you can't be believed. Now, whether or not any of you, Councilman Brown, I know you weren't here, but Councilman Armstead, you were the chairperson for how many years for the Budget and Finance?
A few years.
At least 9, right?
No, not the chairman for 9 years, no.
8?
No.
Close.
No.
So, I give you credit, Councilman Brown, because you're just starting out, and this is all new to you. But I really think that you need to maybe mend some bridges here, and that's probably your priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Sharpie.
Yes, could someone tell me who came to this final figure? You, Mr. Roth? Did you go down to Trenton like you were asked to do? Or submit a report to them?
I'm not sure I follow, Mr.
That, you said you were gonna submit a report to Trenton to come back with the figures, or should the state come in and take over Linden? I think that's what it needs, because it's every year the same budget problems. Overspending, every department overspending, every year the same thing. And who has to pay? The taxpayers. You negotiated a contract 3 years ago, and you knew it would happen in the last year. And here it is, hitting you right back in the face. Right or wrong? I hope next year's contract negotiation is not done by you, because we'll get screwed again. I'm sorry, my language.
Councilman Brown? Councilman Brown?
Yeah. I'm going to ask the treasurer to help me out on this, but Paul, and this is something I don't think everyone fully understands, and maybe I'm not explaining it clearly. In the budget, you have your appropriations and expenses, and you're right. Expenses is a big part of the budget. What makes this year so much different is that the appropriation side, the revenue, is down $4 million. That's not something that can be easily projected. Alexis will tell you that, throughout January and February, I'm asking for these numbers for the revenue side. Now, again, expenses can be projected based off contracts and other things of that nature. But what makes this year so different, and why this is so dramatic, is that our revenue is down $4 million. Now, if our total if we're over the budget by $5.2 million, that's over the cap, I'm sorry, by $5.2 million. Out of that $5.2 million, $4 million of that is from your revenue side. So I want to get the point across is that, yes, I understand there's a trust issue and there's and a lot of other things that are going on. But one thing that we're losing control, because it's not this year, is our revenue is decreasing. And like I stated, for one reason is that the cap that was imposed on the Corzine, that 4% cap, got knocked down now to the 2% cap under Christie. So that decreases the amount of money that we can raise from taxes and other things that nature, which in turn also decreases how much money that we get in surplus. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on that a little bit more, Alexis.
Chairman Brown was 110% accurate in his estimations as to what the issue is. The 2% cap levy that Governor Christie instituted is a hard cap. Under Governor Corzine, it was a 4% cap with many exceptions. And that was what started the budget decline when it looks on revenue side, when you look at surplus. The Christie administration made it even more difficult with the 2% cap. So before those percent caps were in place, the governing body was allowed to raise taxes to whatever level the services we needed to fund the budget. We are no longer allowed to do that. So under the 2% cap levy, there's only certain exceptions that were allowed: debt service, pension and health benefits. That's it. So the governing body is tasked with putting a budget together that's compliant with the 2% cap. Presently, we're $5.2 million over the cap. The only way we can come cap compliant and adopt a budget is to either bring in revenue of $5.2 million or cut expenses of $5.2 million. And what the governing body has control over is the expense side. The mayor and council, and under Chairman Brown, has been meeting regularly to try to bring in revenues, reoccurring revenues that will offset expenses. Unfortunately, in 2013, some of those projects may not come to fruition. We expect them to come to fruition in 2014. However, in 2013, we still have to come compliant with the cap. So therefore, that's what we're working to try to resolve the issues with the concessions in the hopes that we would not have to lay anyone off or demote anyone. The council does not take pride in that. We work to try to reduce expenses wherever possible. The revenue side of the budget this year, as opposed to prior years, we were lapsing appropriation reserves well over $5 million. What I mean by that is when I talk about appropriation reserves, it's prior year budgets, monies that were not spent that were able to be rolled into the surplus. Unfortunately, because budgets were tighter and tighter each year,
and cut further and further, you're not lapsing those appropriation reserves. We had Sandy, we had Irene. Those funds we had to come up with. We didn't have special emergencies. We paid that out of the existing funds we had. So again, that was a hit to our surplus. So in years past, our surplus was anywhere between $7 and $9 million. This year, as of the end of 2012, our surplus is $5.3 million. We had forecasted or projected that we would have some type of revenue shortfall, but it was nowhere near $3 million. As Councilman Brown mentioned, when we got the annual financial statements finalized, which was February 19th, the morning of, that was when Chairman Brown found out the revenue side, that what we were facing. And then we put the cap levy calculation, and we find out that the total number is $5.2 million. And that's basically where we're at right now. We are looking to reduce expenses, and the Finance Committee's been working diligently with the department heads in trying to reduce wherever possible. And we hope to put a budget together for the April council meeting. Thank you.
Prior to Bill Haskell coming up, has everybody had an opportunity to sign the sheet that wishes to speak? Bill? Five minutes, sir.
Bill Haskell, President of Fires Officers. This is tiring. I ain't gonna lie to you, and I'm sure it's tiring to yourselves. And there's a saying is, you can't choose family. And the truth is, we are a family together. Labor, and I'll speak for the fire department that I represent, and management. And we'll be together forever. Long after you guys are gone and I'm gone, there'll always be a relationship, and we're in this together. You know, we need to work together to get this accomplished and get things straight. You can't keep coming back to us, to labor, and point to us as we're the problem. You have to acknowledge yourself and realize you need to come, you know, be part of the solution. Both of you, both of us and you guys together need to come up with a solution. We have to give and you have to give. The challenging part that we have on our end is that as a family, you came to me, or you came to us 5 years ago and said, we need your help. Help me. I need 2 zeros. We're in financial hardships. Help us. And we helped you. We were the first union to take 2 zeros in the whole state of New Jersey, but the first union to settle our contract. And we said, here, I don't want to kill, like the mayor said, kill the goose that lays the golden egg. We helped you. Here's your 2 zeros. And Alan promised us 395, 395, 395. Take this contract, take the zeros, and we'll have this for you. Well, the first raise came, and we don't have the money. We don't have the money for the first raise. And let me just step back for a second. When we had the option of taking a 2-0, we could have went to interest arbitration and had somebody look at both sides and issue an award. But Alan said to us, if you do that, I'm going to tell you right now, whatever the award is, I'm going to lay off and demote whatever that award is. We don't want to do that. We're family. Let's work together. We're family. You got your zeros. Come time for our raise, you laid us off and demoted us anyway. That hurts us. You know? Was it a genuine, bona fide, good faith offer that Alan made? I don't know. I question it. Did he dangle a carrot and say, once they take 2 zeros, when we come to the raises, just threaten them with layoffs and demotions, they'll fold up and they'll give it back? That's what I feel, Alan. It hurts me. Was I duped? Or did you really truthfully mean you had the money? Because if years have gone by and there's no money, I don't know what you spend the money on. I'm not going to say it's your fault or this one's fault. But you knew raises were coming and you promised them. You know, bona fide, you know what the bona fide means? It means good faith. It means it's there. So the first raise, you just lay us off and demote us, and it paid for our raises. So you can sit here and say, well, they got raises. Well, we paid for it. We lost 12 guys. That's what paid for our raises. And now we're here for another year. Oh, you know, with raises on the table and concessions. And I'll be honest with you, I'm willing to work with yous. But there has to be something said to us, or you guys have to meet us halfway and have good faith relations, good faith bona fide answers. If you want us to work with you, you have to work with us and say what, like my wife says, say what you mean and mean what you say. You can't change your mind and come back to me 6 months from now and somebody says, I think you should only have one rank, not lieutenant captain, just get one or one rank. Or I think you guys really should be that T of O that's on there. Because is that what's going to happen? I'm going to give back my raise that you promised you had, and 6 months from now you're going to go to me, we're going to get rid of the firehouse anyway. And this is our plan all along. We're just going to keep coming to you, keep putting a gun to your head and say, give us your raise, give us your raise, give us your raise. And if you don't give it back, we'll lay off and demote you. And we work with you and work with you and work with you. And in the end, you're going to get rid of us anyway and go down to that T of O that you have on paper. Is that what you just want to do? I hope it's not. I hope we can work together and come to an agreement that you come up with a T of O that you believe in and that you fund, and not haphazardly spend money and say, well, we don't have it now, and we're just going to get rid of you. I could tell you this. I went back and looked at some numbers. 2006, all right? The fire department salary and wages, $10,800,000. 2012, salary...
Mr. Brown would like to make a statement.
Sure. 2012, we're talking 7 years later, $10,900,000. It's been the same or less for the last 7 years on the fire department. We're not the problem. And in fact, it was budgeted 10.9. I think it actually was like a 10.3. We're lower today than we were 7 years ago. Because we're at 126, we're at 108 now. Now you hired 8, they're getting laid off. I was told by Alan they got no shot, they're laid off, forget about them. So we're at 108. So the fire department's costing you the same it did today 7 years ago. The budget was $83 million. Now it's $95 million last year. I don't know what it's going to be this year. I don't see how, it's not our fault. We're doing our part. We're down manpower. Our calls have tripled. We've taken over the ambulance, which is bringing in another $1 million a year, but now you're going to handcuff us and say, only man one ambulance, and lose revenue. What that makes it frustrating for me here is I don't know who to talk to. This one says one thing, this one says another, that one says something, he says something. You guys got to come up with a plan. I don't know if it's a business administrator, I don't know what it is, but you have to come up with a plan and stick with it and fund it, be truthful to your labor and say, listen, this is what your T of O is, and that's it. And we'll talk about a raise. If we can afford it, we give you some. If not, we don't. But you can't just keep cutting us and threatening me with demotions and lay us off, and if you don't do it, we're going to do this. It's not right to us. I put my life on the line for this town. Every day I go to work. I love this town. And we're being treated unfairly, I believe.
Mr. Brown, you have a response.
Bill, I'm hearing a lot of what you're saying. One thing I just want to say off the bat, no one's blaming the fire department, no one's blaming the police department, but there are some things that I wasn't here when the contracts were negotiated. I wasn't here even 3 years ago when the first layoff for the police department. All I can do is promise you is as I've been trying to being open, as honest as possible, and talking to people and getting the numbers and planning for it. I've been saying that for years, a 3 to 5 year plan. Now, that being said, one of the things, and Alexis, correct me if I'm wrong, when the contracts were negotiated in 2009, that was prior to Christie putting in this 2% cap. And I'm not blaming him, but these are things that need to be thought of, is that when these contracts were done 5 years ago, which I don't agree that it should have been done 5 years, things have changed where the city of Linden is being squeezed more and more. Is it fair to keep coming to you guys and keep coming to other people? No. But at the same time, is that we're in a situation here where we are over capped, we can't introduce a budget. Now let's look down further, and and we'll go down the road. If we don't get a budget introduced, where's that source of revenue going to come in from taxes in order to pay everyone in the city? In the resolution, there was there was a resolution being passed for tax anticipated notes, $14 million.
Right.
That has to be issued in order to make sure that everyone here is getting paid and debt services is being paid and all these other obligations. I mean, Bill, I don't know what else to say other than the city is in a serious situation, which I'm dedicated to trying to get us back in a better position. I mean, everyone knows me and the mayor used to bat months ago. I mean, we talk almost daily about this budget, what we're going to do. Me and Alexis talk daily. I talk to Derek. I mean, the council here, you know, is working very hard to get this budget under cap and to reduce the fact that it's going to have an employees. You know, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah,
You
no,
want to
please,
talk offside and
I understand, Peter. Look, you got the money, you got the money, you know, and you know, people can criticize you and say, well, why'd you do this, and why'd you spend that, and why'd you do that, and I'm not up here to do that. You know, all I can say is, if you want to get something done, you want a concession from us, I'm going to recommend a couple things. Number one, make it simple. Make it simple and that my guys can understand. Alan, no offense, you clouded the heck out of it and confused the hell out of me. Make it simple. This is what we want. Can you give it to us? And then the other, that's our part. Then you do your part. If you do it, this is what you can expect, guaranteed, bona fide. Don't come back to me in 6 months and say, we're going to lay you off anyway. Or we're plan all along was just to reduce you. We got your raise, and now we're going to screw you anyway. That's how we feel. So we're a family. We can overcome this, but we got to work together. You tell me what you want, I'll bring it back to the guys. Make it simple to understand. We're firemen. I'm not a rocket scientist. Make it simple. If we give it back, what can we expect? And be honest. Don't give me a pie in the sky thing. Just be honest. Listen, this is what you could expect. Nothing will happen this year. Next year we're expecting this, and let's go with it. You know, and we talked all about deferring all that other stuff, but really, we can get it done.
Councilman
But
Armstead, you have a
we
statement?
need your, be part of this. Yes.
Mr. Haskell, how you doing this evening?
Good,
I know you for quite a
Of
long time.
course.
I want to say cuz. We know each other for so long.
We're family, bro.
Listen, and that's the way we have to go into this. We have to go into it like we're family. The bottom line here is that, you know, Christie has imposed a 2% cap levy on all the towns. And we basically had what I would consider almost a perfect storm that unraveled on us. I mean, our appropriations increased over $3.5 million, and the revenues decreased over $4 million. I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean,
I understand.
And believe me, no one here wants to have to decrease a complement or lay off police officers or lay off firemen. But like I said earlier this evening, you know what? We're going to have to go into a back room somewhere and sit down and figure this out, because
Right.
we really don't have a choice.
I understand.
We don't have a choice.
I understand.
And, you know, and I'm confident that at some point down the road, when we do start bringing some things online, when we have a lot of projects in the pipeline that just haven't come to fruition, but I'm confident that we're going to get through this tough period of time. This economy is not going to stay bad forever. It can't. It just won't. So I'm just confident that we got to sit down. We all know what we're up against right here, and we're going to have to sit down, work it out, and you know, we're going to take a few hits here and there, and it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I understand.
But in the end, we're going to sit back and we're going to say to each other, hey, we made it, and let's move forward.
Right, and again, it's hard because, look, you guys are here for 3 years, or is that your terms? And you could be out of here in 3 years. You know,
Absolutely.
and it keeps changing.
You know,
And
I seen them come and I seen them go.
Yeah, I know.
For a
And
long time.
this one had this opinion, this one has this opinion, this way, this one thinks this should go this way, this one thinks it should go that way. Well, you know, like I said, I don't know if it's a business administrator, I don't know if it's one person, I don't know, but it just seems like we build firehouses, now we're going to close them. We have a study, and the fire department take over the ambulance, and now we're getting rid of guys not to do the ambulance. It just seems like we hire guys, and we're going to lay them off in 2 months. It's I don't know, something is wrong fundamentally, and we need to get it on track. We'd like to be part of the solution, but you have to meet us halfway. Thank you.
I'm just going to say one thing.
Yeah.
Let's just get together and put this. We got to come together.
We're family. I'm with you forever. Well, at least the other 7, 8 years.
All right.
Thank you. The following council meetings will be as follows. Council conference meeting, Monday, April 15, 2013. Pat Hero.
Hold on 1 second, Chad.
Pat Hero, We Chief Road.
We're still in session.
Hold on,
We're still in session.
Don't leave yet. You want to hear this? Trust me. As I said, Pat Hero, We Chief Road, we're doing less because, quite frankly, we don't have any more. I look at a lot of you, and you're talking about raises. Some of us haven't had raises. The only raises we've had is when they've raised the minimum wage. Some of us don't have health insurance. I want to take you back to 2006 when I was campaigning for First Ward Councilperson, and I came across a woman who just cried and begged us not to raise property taxes because she couldn't take it anymore. This was back in 2006. I can only imagine how she feels because I know how I feel. It is terrible. It is terrible to see people who you meet in Pathmark who are buying groceries for their mother because the mother can't afford to eat and pay their property taxes. How about seniors who don't have any children to pay their property taxes? How about the man who told me that he was getting headaches because he had high blood pressure, but he couldn't afford to pay property taxes and have high blood pressure medication, so I was going without that. How about that public safety? How about all of us who don't have health insurance? We gladly pay some, but we can't afford it and pay New Jersey property taxes. You act like the 2% cap, oh, our hands are tied, we just can't take it. It's because government has been spending too much for too long, and it hasn't been the mayor's fault. The mayor doesn't run the budget, it's the council people that did it. And for too long, council people, and a lot of you weren't on council, just dithered and did nothing. Linden had the highest rate of employees per people in the city. But for a long time, we just kept hiring people because, of course, nobody thought that this day would come. But this day came a long time ago, but nobody ever took care of it. You know, yes, I love public safety. One of my late cousin was a police officer, and I was rescued by firemen down in Arlington, Virginia, so I do appreciate what you're doing. But believe me, I'd like to see you take a pay cut, because quite frankly, some of us can't afford you anymore, not the salaries you're at. If you want to help each other, sacrifice and take a pay cut. I'm sure you could take that and still live quite comfortably. Some of us don't even know about living. Some of us are only existing. Living is something that we can only hope for. Living is having health insurance. Living is having 3 meals a day. You don't understand that, what we go through. And I'm talking about the people that you don't see, the people that are too ashamed to come up to the microphone, and the people that won't even hear me say this because they gave up cable TV a long time ago. But you know what? They were diligent, they worked hard all their lives, and now the government seems to be taking all their money in property taxes, and they're too old, they're too sick, they can't do anything about it. Don't talk to me about raises, please. Some of us only hope to aspire to have raises. And another thing, why we need to get a business administrator. The fact is, I think only 2 of you, not including the mayor, only 2 of you don't have full-time jobs. Most of you do have full-time jobs and families and have to work on the city. That's a lot to ask you to do all this work. That's why we need a business administrator. You know, I don't know, you know, I just keep going up here, and I've done this for almost 9 years. I think it'll be 9 years next month. And I just get tired of this, but I keep going because people need to have someone speak out for them. And I thank you that you're not talking about raises or taxes, because believe me, it is just astronomical what we have to pay in property taxes. And when you have a poverty level income, like so many people do, you just can't afford property taxes and the ability to keep your own home. And a lot of people like living in their own home and having their friends and family around them. They don't want to live and leave and go somewhere else, but the property taxes are just driving people. You know, we just can't take it anymore. That's all I'm saying. And I'm sorry that you're being deprived of raises that you were promised, or you're threatening to lay off. Like I said, maybe you could take a salary cut. You can afford it. I like to live on 1/4 of what you're having to pay in what you'll get in pensions. Remember, some of us have drained our retirement accounts to pay property taxes, and some people have businesses that in having to pay a property tax, some of us would like to have as a salary. So, thank you for your time, and like I said, I just wish the city council could do something. Yeah, I wish it had been done a long time ago. If they had listened to Paul Workmeister and Joe Bianco, we wouldn't be in this problem, because they were talking about it a long time ago. But now, unfortunately, the chickens are coming home to roost. And some of us wish we could eat chicken, but we can't afford it because we have to pay New Jersey property taxes. Thank you for your time.
Very good, thank you. The following council meetings will be as follows. Council conference meeting Monday, April 15th, 2013, at 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting. Tuesday, April 16th, 2013, at 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting Tuesday, April 16th, 2013, at 7 p.m. in the council chambers, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Motion to adjourn, please.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Kalb?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.